All right, as the great John Oliver says, welcome, 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 everybody, to the Sunday, May 5th, 2024 live stream. I'm joined tonight by my friend, co-host, man of the hour, Sean. Sean, how you doing tonight? You doing well?
What is the worst intro you've ever given? I should leave just based off that right now. It's
Look,
terrible.
mine scattered and everything, so
It's
eh,
awful.
no excuses, just an explanation. But how you doing tonight? Are you doing well?
No, the Magic lost. I hate life right now. It's terrible.
They were doing so well too, and then they just could not get it together. When
We
what
decided to have the only series to go 7 games in the first round, which is the winner gets to play Boston. So good luck, Cleveland.
Yeah, they're not winning against
Yeah, Orlando wasn't beating
Boston.
Boston, but it's like I would have liked to have had the opportunity to lose to Boston. But
I mean,
anyway,
make it to the second round instead of one and
we're off
done.
to free
Essentially.
agency
Yeah.
with our huge amount of cap space, and I have no idea what they're going to do. But I will be very upset if they give a max contract to like Paul George, who's 34. No, do not
I
give
don't think
Paul
they will.
do not give Paul George a max contract. Um,
No, I
you
wouldn't
need
see why they need it. I mean, go for trades, go for something else.
you need to tell Trey Young to not go play with old man LeBron in LA and come to the team you're supposed to come to in the first place with a young uprising star named Paulo Banchero because we need a shooter. It's like, bro, you come down here, we take over the East very quickly because we play the best defense in the entire. We play some of the best
Yeah,
defense in the entire league, and just, bro, come to Orlando. Like
yeah.
you are the the final piece to the puzzle to make a serious run.
I
Or you could go to Los Angeles and like play with old man LeBron. But that's just me.
I agree with you because I think LeBron. I'm not gonna say he's on his way out,
He should be.
but yeah, I think it's starting to get close.
LeBron is like my age, bro.
Yeah, LeBron is. I think LeBron has about 5 years left in him,
Oh
and then he's
God.
done.
And the only reason he
I think
has
so.
the only reason he has 5 years left in him is he's LeBron James. But it's
Correct,
like
and that's the reason why.
it's like no, don't go play with old man LeBron. Like he's
Yeah, I think LeBron, in my opinion, I think it's he wants to play basketball and be on the same team as his son. I think he wants to get a good.
that's great. He can do that if he wants. But
And that's
like
right, and that's why I agree with you because I think Trey Young would be
come to
not even
Orlando.
in LA. I don't even think he would inherit the team if he was there. Go to Orlando where you have a shot and make your name. I understand wanting to play
We'll,
with the all-time greats.
Atlanta, we'll trade you we'll trade you Ron DeSantis straight up, the governor of Florida for Trey Young. You can have him. He's yours.
I man, for y'all that'd be a fantastic deal. For them, that would not be a good deal. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Before we really delve more into like other topics and everything, I definitely want to make sure like to say my heart goes out to everybody who was affected by tornadoes. Gosh, it has been an active year for sure. My aunt was only less than a mile away from the Ardmore one. We were watching it on live stream, not live stream, just the radars and everything. When it pinged and it was like, hey, giant tornadoes starting to form southwest of Ardmore. I went, is this where this is going to go? And when everything started to explode, I was like, yep, it's heading that way. So she's safe. Their house and everything was safe. She was at a charity event for their business for it, and everyone was safe at the convention center. But oh man, dude, it's rough. It is very rough here. A friend of mine visited the Sulphur area through FEMA. She said it's extremely rough. Like they're going to need a lot of help down there. Luckily, still, it was through the main street. It wasn't residential-ish, if that makes sense. But even then, like, where do you even start at this point? Like, where do you pick up the pieces for it? But that Southeast Oklahoma really, really got hit hard. So again, heart goes out to them. If I find any links for charity or anything at the moment, I'll pass them on as they like are posted. I just haven't really seen something organized just yet. It's been more individual stuff of, hey, if you can go donate to this or donate to this, go get some local stuff, or do like gift cards to Lowe's or Tubs and everything. That's kind of been the stuff, but not a organized thing. But if I see anything, let everybody know for it. Again, if you've been affected by it, hey, heart goes out to you. Definitely be on the lookout for weather tomorrow for sure, because we're back in the crosshairs again Monday. Knock on wood again, but it looks like from Lawton all the way up to northern Kansas. Hell's Highway is definitely in the crosshairs again. Just so many tornadoes. I think our average tornadoes in April is 16, 17. I think I last saw. Another one, I think it was 11. We had 49 for this one. So May and June are probably going to be a very, very active tornado season as well. Gosh, it's hard to focus sometimes on football and sports when all the other stuff around you is like happening, So, but again, I just wanted to say that. Other than that, Sean, kind of, what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with some OU football? Talk about Williams picking OU and how Texas and Mizzou are up in their fields. Do you want to talk a little bit of softball? What's going on with the softball team? Do you want to talk a little bit of other recruiting or anything at this point? What's on your mind?
It's your show. What do you want to talk about?
Let's talk Williams. Let's talk him first. So last week,
Right.
Dominique Williams chose OU from the transfer portal as he was being recruited from us, LSU, Texas. I heard a little bit of Missouri, and I heard a little bit of USC at like the last hour. Good going, Link. Like that was a little bit late, but regardless, he picked OU, and Texas and definitely LSU are very, very upset. LSU needed some type of defensive tackle, and they're going to be hurting next year as a result. Texas is trying to blow it off and say, oh, we didn't need him anyway, even though they actually do need somebody. And he ends up at OU. Sean, can you kind of tell us a little bit the story behind with Dominique Williams, though, like his entire recruitment? Because it seemed like for 3 weeks.
His entire recruitment?
Well, his from transfer portal to OU at this point, because it seems like everybody was paying attention for 3 weeks of where's he gonna choose? Like, he was the best defensive tackle out of the portal, and he would make a true impact on the field where we have experienced guys up front and guys in the back waiting to rotate in. So it was an important need.
Oh, you haven't heard? He actually sucks. So
he went to TCU. That's why he sucks.
Well, no, he picked OU. That's why he sucks. So it's just
well, only
I don't know if you've heard. I don't know if you heard that, but he's actually not that good, despite Texas really trying really hard to recruit him.
They're just unhappy that
Ian Boyd told me Ian Boyd cherry picked a few plays that he didn't like and showed them to his idiot fans on his message board and said he's not good. So turns out we were suckered into quote unquote overpaying for him. I don't know what overpaying means because there's all these outlandish numbers being thrown out there. It's not 1.5 million, you fucking morons.
No. Like that's always I think anybody who
it's in the $6,700,000 or $700,000 range, and from what I understand, OU outbid Texas by like $60,000, give or take. So it's like they did technically outbid them, but one of the real reasons OU got him is because OU tampered like a champion today back in December to get him. Yeah. So, love or hate it, they said, hey, why are you going to stay at TCU? You should come to the SEC. He's like, that's a great idea. I love this idea. I love this plan. I'm excited to be a part of it. And then he slapped his mom and said, let's go down to Norman. But then his uncle came down too and made things a little more difficult. But everyone's got an uncle.
So it was his uncle, not his dad. I heard
dad. No, that was not a dad.
It
was a quote unquote uncle, handler, agent person, but he's the reason shit took a lot longer than it needed to be. But he was trying to get him the best deal, which at the end of the day, I'm not gonna hate on too much. But if a decision could have been made like a week ago, basically.
Was he trying to see if LSU and Texas?
Yeah, he was trying to raise the price, and he was trying to. The word was he was actually like the reason you hear these numbers out there is because he was trying to get over $1 million, and nobody was biting on that, and nobody, no one was stupid enough to we're gonna go 7 figures, even Mizzou. So it's like okay.
Now for $1 million, are you talking about this might be a dumb question. Was he trying to get $1 million for like a payday or trying to set up for generational wealth? Essentially, I look at that as two different things.
That's $1 million is not generational wealth. I don't know where you're going with that.
No. That I'm talking about like his initial asking price being
no one asked.
Trying to get generational at this point.
No, like generational wealth is like high double digits.
And that's fair. I mean, in Oklahoma, $1 million can go a long way. But
I don't know what you've been hearing about NIL deals, but NIL deals are nothing compared to
the most I've heard for NIL is if you're throwing numbers out there, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes usually. $1 million to $2 million.
I don't know why you're throwing out generational wealth, because that is a gap that does not. No one's getting paid that in college ever.
Correct.
Anyway, but no, like here's like, you know, the bare bone, and no one was biting on that, and so, but you know, OU was the one who reached out to get him in the first place, and they went over Mom, which is always like, it's not 100% guaranteed you're going to win that battle, but the percentages are pretty high. You went over Mom. The best thing that they did was offer his little brother. That was like the best thing they did, and you know,
okay. Thank you.
Because
they offered it to him as well.
Well, because say what?
That they offer, like they wanted his little brother and stuff as well. That was another part.
Well, yeah, and of course that, you know, people can think what they want, but like, you know, they're not going to offer someone just like, if your little brother is like, have you seen my baseball? They're not going to just do it just to do it. I made a little, there's something about Mary joke there, maybe a little inappropriate in today's world, but I did it anyway. But they're not doing that. So apparently he was a big influence too, because it was like, you know, when Mom realizes that both of her sons are like going to get
set
college.
For life.
Well, you're not set for life. You're going to get a college.
They're set
degree.
For post high school.
Yeah, you're set to go to college, basically. So,
correct.
You know, you're not set for life per se, but it's like, I mean, listen, if you gave me $2 million and I spaced it out, I could live a comfortable life the rest of my life. But
I mean, literally just keep 100,000 of it, put the rest in the bank, and draw it from the interest. Like, it doesn't take that long.
I mean,
depending on what bank you use.
I live in Florida, so you're going to have to up that price a little bit more.
That's fair.
So,
just go to a federal credit union. You'll be fine.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, prices down here. But the point is, it's that, you know, it's a lot of things won over. You know, Brent is like, you know, this needs to end a couple of conversations about OU.
Hey, that we're not broke.
Well, that's the one. Well, that's one thing, but it's like the whole broke. The hilarious joke is that the people who were being little pissants about it afterwards from other fan bases and saying how we overpaid are the same people who called us Broklahoma. So it's like, which
exactly, you can't have it both ways, guys. Like, you can't call us broke and then joke's on you, we outbid you.
Well, that's what makes them stupid. That's what makes them stupid message board idiots. And the other thing you can't say anymore is like, remember the narrative that Todd Bates can't recruit from our own fan base? So
many a times.
Now they're still going to bring up like Enwinari and McKinley, I guess, but you know, sure, you know, whatever helps you sleep at night. So we have the most depth. This is the thing I'm selling people for this year now. The one thing in Oklahoma has struggled for years on the defensive side of the football, specifically, is the interior side on all three levels: D tackle, inside backer, safety.
Yeah, I agree.
We do not live in a world where we lack depth at safety, inside backer, and now D tackle. We go,
and I mean the D tackle too is.
We go three deep or six deep, or we have a 6-man rotation that we're going to play with now. Hell, maybe 7 if you want to throw in Sears. I don't know. Yeah. So it's just,
and that's why some of the transfers and stuff are going out, because Brent's being honest with them of, we don't have room for y'all here. We're going to that.
Well, nobody at D tackle left or anything like that. It's just the fact that you're going to have Dejon Terry. You're going to have Lole. You're going to have Dominic Williams as your experienced guys, your veterans.
Correct.
You're going to have Grayson Holton, who's been in the program, who's shown a few flashes. Sears is another guy. And then you have your 2 stud freshmen who will get their snaps, because the one thing I didn't want to happen this year is that, okay, if we absolutely have to play Stone and Jane Jackson, I'm not going to cry too much, but at the same time,
they're still freshmen.
Well, when you have like months and months of an off season, and then you have the hype that gets multiplied within your own fan base, and then when they go out there and they don't make a sack on every play, everyone's like, "What the hell? I thought they were 5 stars," or stupid shit like that.
I mean, I'm guilty of it. I've done that before, and then I took a step back very fast.
He didn't play because he redshirted because he needed it, but like if you had that mindset, you would have thought Gerald McCoy was a Jag in 2006.
Correct. I mean,
Gerald McCoy openly admitted, I needed a redshirt year because I was not ready for college football like I thought I was. So he redshirted. He was a 5-star. He was a legit 5-star. He needed a redshirt year. And then in 2007, he was Gerald fucking McCoy.
Correct. So it's no different than PJ.
Like Tommy Harris. Tommy Harris was like the best like modern day D tackle we've ever recruited, because he was ready day one.
Well, and it's like they didn't really understand, like, there's a lot of work that goes into getting yourself ready to be on the field, not necessarily against high school plus teams, but But Dominic Williams, like the things that like Nazi sympathizers like Ian Boyd tend to put out there. He loves him some Nazis. He loves him some Nazis. Ian Boyd, Jeff, what's his name? Ketch.
I don't know. I don't think Ketchum's a Nazi sympathizer, but he does look like a Vincent D'Onofrio on estrogen.
Oh, I'm just talking that they're just off their rocker.
Jeff Ketchum, despite all of his idiocy I've exposed lately, is like at least smart enough to admit, like, Steve Sarkisian has openly said we need defensive tackles, and I'm sorry, getting a Jag from Arizona that you think is good is adorable. The Norton guy is like, no.
Yeah.
You literally have one experienced D tackle on your line that you kind of like. Your 2 guys that you love from last year are gone.
Correct.
You tried to use them as lead blockers on a goal line play that didn't work. So, but whatever. But Sweat and Murphy are gone. They're not coming back. So, and I don't know. There are no all the other D tackles you could have gotten in the process. They went elsewhere, whether they went to Miami or wherever. So, good luck trying to find someone last minute, because you're going to need it.
Correct.
But no, what Dominic Williams does for OU, because like you have idiots like Nazi sympathizers like Ian Boyd, who go out there and cherry pick plays that say, well, he's not really good, because look at this. I'm going to pull out this SMU tape, which in reality, all you're doing is making Hickman look good, or SMU transfer. So at center. So it's one of the it's like the meme where you got to push the button. Which one do you like shit on the most? So
yeah.
But what Dominic Williams does, like, people say, well, he doesn't have any stats, so why are we like? It's just idiot fans who look at a box score. This is what Dominic Williams does for your program. If you actually watch plays where he's and listen, you don't need to be an X's and O's experts on formations or anything. I see number 52, and you know what he does best? He disrupts shit. Now, the play itself that you're watching may not end up in a negative gain for TCU, because people go back to 2012 because he was a true freshman in 22. And Josh McCuistion put out a bunch of plays. If you watch the plays, like he penetrates on the D line, but maybe the quarterback scrambles out and no one can catch him, and he still makes a pass down the field and stuff. The dude penetrates up the middle and causes havoc. He's not going to be your sack leader.
Correct.
But he's going to open up holes for, I don't know, maybe Danny Stutzman's going to come in right behind him and make a play. Or I don't know, maybe PJ Atabare, who's not being double teamed for some odd reason, swoops in and seals the edge and makes a play. So because you have other options. He's going to eat up double teams because they can't stop him. And then you rotate in, the thing is, Dominic Williams right now at this very moment is OU's best interior defensive lineman, period. And that's not an insult to anybody. It's just the fact. Now, who knows? Maybe by the end of the year, David Stone, Jane Jackson, they develop into something. I don't know, but right now, Dominic Williams is your best dude. So, like that's why it was emphasizing, if we don't get him, it sucks, but we'll be fine, because I do think Dejon Terry and Lolole from Louisville, he was a good piece, but this potentially puts you over the top for being, dare I say, a top 3 defense in the SEC if things all really come together. Because like who are the guys? Like the only guys that are like left over from
we're reloading. We're reloading versus rebuilding.
Well, no, you are rebuilding, but the guys who are here that were left over from Grinch or Riley or whatever are guys who are like 4th or 5th year seniors, like Danny Stutzman, Bowman, and Woody Washington and stuff like that. Everybody else, for the most part, are Brent's guys, whether they're transfers or recruits.
I mean, and that's reflected in the NFL draft lately, where 3 guys? Jaden Davis, Caleb, and Spencer. Like, that's a reflection on Riley on that. And that's not to bring Riley into the conversation, but you're right. It's Brent's guys, and it's a night and day how much of a difference that is at that point. And I'm guilty of it where
we had a down year in the draft and still at least had 3 guys drafted. When Texas is down here, nobody gets drafted. So
correct. I mean,
I just like to point that out.
Yeah, and I mean, to mention what you said about Dominic Williams, I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of saying like, oh, I saw him in person. I wasn't that impressed with TCU's D line. I'm guilty of jumping to that conclusion first. I have to back up if he's not meant to be the Danny Stutzman. He's there to be a piece.
Well, TCU.
He's not to be the star.
Well, TCU whooped our ass at 22, so I was impressed with TCU. So,
I'm talking about 23.
Yeah, I'm
talking last year.
Oh, you're talking about the end of the year? Oh, well.
Yeah, the one in Norman. That's the one I'm talking about.
I mean, it was a glorified shootout at the end of the day, so I don't know, but they still, like, at their best, that team at their best from 22, they whooped our asses pretty handily, but because that's just the truth. We weren't good enough, and they were. So, but when you pair him up with the only thing that I don't worry about it, but it's like the thing you just have to see with OU, like. The pass rush has to be there this year. Like, if they don't have a pass rush this year, something's really wrong, in my opinion. If R. Mason Thomas is healthy, because I keep being told how R. Mason Thomas is our best pass rusher, and I believe people when they say that. It's just that the dude's never healthy enough to be on the field enough. And if he's really that guy, great. You got the kid coming in from Miami of Ohio, who they're high on. PJ really came along at the second half of spring. If people say like
PJ is another example of, if you only watched him last year, like near the mid to the end of the season, why is he a 5-star? If you watch the tape, it makes sense.
No, he was a true freshman, and he was like,
correct.
The problem,
PJ got learning.
Well, no, he had a handful of snaps, and he was like he was half a tick away from taking down Ewers before he launches that would-be Hail Mary at the end of the game against Texas. So it's just he desperately, he was a dude, like, that dude was built he's a lower body built dude. He did not really have the upper body strength yet. And correct. I think if he continues to build on this, if he continues to have a really great summer, which I assume he will, I don't see why he wouldn't. Like, he has a chance to really explode this year, because again, you're not just depending on one guy to be. We're not in a world where we're depending on an Obo Okoronkwo to be the guy, or we're hoping that Eric Stryker can be the guy, or just like, we're not depending on one person. So
I mean, and that goes back to, and I'm monkeying this. This isn't my original thought. It's what everyone said of, if we lost Wagner a couple years back, that'd be devastating. Now it's
that's my line. God damn it, you stole that.
Well, I heard it from Kerry Murdoch as well.
Bullshit. Kerry Murdoch stole it from me then. So
fine. But regardless, it would be devastating. But now it's very much okay. Well, we hope you do.
And I don't think Josiah Wagner's a jag. It's just like
he's not. That's the point.
It got to the point where it was like the corner room was so deep, and it's like, well, somewhat like. I think we're at numbers now. I have to go double check. I think we're actually at the numbers we need to be for scholarship players, or
I think
they may have to tinker.
I think we're one left. I think
well,
so.
What they'll
not including NIL scholarships.
Well, what they have to do though, if they'll have to tinker with preferred walk-on NIL, deals or whatever for somebody. So it's like the dumbest fucking thing I heard was from this little Texas troll who sounds like he's 12, because I heard his voice on a clip from a Twitter Spaces. Because he was.
How do you know how little that narrows it down?
Well, no, I know I can narrow it down because this is the little turd who tried to troll me by saying how many 3 stars we have, and I just destroyed him. And then Gavin Freeman hit the portal, which didn't really Parker Thune was shocked. I'm like, grow up, Parker. But
Parker's weird.
Well, he's a child. People forget that he's actually still, he's a kid, even though he's in his 20s. He's still a kid, and he can't take it. I forget
that. That's right. That's right. I forget that even too.
Parker Thune can't lose. That's a really old kind of joke reference that nobody here gets except me. And even then,
I'll be honest, I don't even get that reference myself, my man. I'm like,
there was a TV show in the early 90s called Parker Lewis Can't Lose, and so that's the joke I made. So yeah, no one was alive then. I get it.
Hey, think of it this way.
Listen, my
reference you've made on this live stream ever.
Listen. My mentality for doing shit like that, it's like everyone won't get it, but the right people will get it. But the right people aren't here, so. But that's all right. But no, the dude can't take L's. He can't take his L's, and he has to take a giant L because he was. It's like, well, Dominic, it's over. Texas offered him, a huge bag, and it's like, yeah, dude didn't even make it to campus yet, and he's already declaring victory for Texas. And so, yeah,
because
he and Drum are losing cred points day by day with people, and it's like, why are we listening to them at this point?
There are dumb question because I think
there's a reason the Scoop guys aren't always quote unquote first, because it's not about being first. It's about getting the information.
It's about having
right.
Info right. Yeah.
I would rather have correct information. You don't see
George
Stoya. George Stoya didn't go around every 10 minutes updating the situation.
Some people, if you're paying for it, it should be, but that's not realistic.
Well, no, but I'm not gonna spend all day. To be fair, I spent all day on Thursday or on Friday. I spent all day literally. I don't think I put clothes on for the first half of the day on Friday because I woke up and I'm just now when I mean clothes, I mean regular clothes. Not I'm in the stuff I slept in. I wasn't completely naked, although that has happened before. So I'm not gonna pretend that I haven't just woke up and I'm in the buffalo, and then I'm just oh, something's happening today. And I just stay on the laptop or stay on my device or whatever. That's only happened a couple times in my life. But it's those guys need to learn to take L's because you're going to be wrong. I'm wrong. I said it. I'm wrong on things.
You said it on a live stream that can be recorded.
Yeah, but nobody watches your stream, so I'm fine.
That's fair.
So it's I'm so cruel to you today. I don't know what it is, but I'm such a bully. But no, it's just the whole. It was just really funny watching people pretend they don't care, and that bleeded over into fucking Jeff Ketchum having the fucking nutsack to tell his fucking base and his minions who lap it up like melted ice cream. How many Texas fans have brought up the OU game last year? None. It's shut the fuck up, Ketchum.
Ketchum's just
he's trying to sell that I knew he was full of shit. It's one thing to say it if you play the whole. If he would have been honest and said, Texas loses this game all the time, they just don't care about it anymore. That's a more believable argument, but that's not what he said.
He basically said we're not their main rival anymore, and it went, bro.
It's gonna go back. It's gonna go back to. He says it's going to be the A&M rivalry, and it's I would believe this. That's somewhat believable if you actually had a credible reason behind it. And then he went on to say, well, Texas has bigger fish to fry. We're focusing on Georgia and Alabama, and I'm like, motherfucking what?
I mean, more power to you if you're focusing.
Have you informed these two schools that you're rivals now?
Not 49 to
I don't think they got the memo.
Really, yeah. it's why I mean I had I work with an Arkansas fan, and she saw some of the live stream from Catch, and she came in and she's like, he can't be serious. Is he really that serious? Because it's been making the reels have been making the rounds.
I don't know,
on,
but
social
I don't
media.
know, because
I
I
went,
was I was at the state fair and I saw plenty of people in burnt orange T-shirts with their heads.
They cared.
So I'm pretty sure they cared.
Hey, nothing beats asking a Longhorn fan to take your picture.
If they don't care, just sell
big
your
text
tickets.
throwing the horns down.
Just sell your tickets to people like me. I'll sit in your section and be an asshole.
No, let's make it a home and home, Sean. If they don't care that much, we can play it in Norman all the time.
No, like that was my suggestion. I said, you know what, we'll just discontinue the trophy. We'll keep it since you don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in our possession, so we'll just hold on to it. I'm sure the state fair would like it back, but fuck them.
No, they gave it to us. Nope,
yeah,
nope,
fuck them and their overpriced food and their coupons and everything. So, no, we'll just cancel it. We'll have a home and home. Just treat it like an Avery since you don't care.
Yeah.
And because I just laugh that Texas or it's like an apologist tried to play off that game. They
try to rewrite the narrative.
Well, no, they try to play off like that game, like Texas got caught sleeping. It was a trap game against Baylor or some shit. Like, fuck you, dude. It's fucking Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl. Like,
exactly.
Stop pretending this was a game that snuck up on you. And that's what they're gonna do this year because we're focusing on because they play Georgia the week after us at home. So
yeah,
like if they lose that game again, they're just gonna play. Well, we were looking ahead to Georgia, bitch. You should have been focusing on the game that you lost last year, because that's what we did. Like I was very adamant about last year. It's like Brent has one goal. He needs to win a trophy, and he got a trophy. He got one of the two trophies he needed to have a successful season in my eyes. I know people wanted the Big 12 as well, but shit happens. The team has improved, but they weren't quite there yet. And the offensive line is still to be determined.
And we still need one more transfer in for the offensive line.
But there's nobody out. Here's what may happen. And I can't remember that dude's name. Someone's going to remember. It seems like Michigan State's losing everybody, but it's yet another Michigan State player. There's a guard from Michigan State. I know OU was in on a year or two, like a year or two ago or whatever, and he's in the portal. I have heard there's been nothing reported that he is like on the radar or he's going to go, or I don't even know if like people would have. I think I would have seen if he went somewhere else yet. I would have to look it up real quick, but I'm his name like escapes me right now. But the point is, I know like Josh and stuff, and those guys were kind of like tinkering, just kind of like throwing shit at the wall.
Yeah.
If you grabbed him and put him at guard, and maybe if you want, because Fabici Owiwu from North Texas played a lot of right tackle for North Texas.
Yeah.
So if you want to experiment with that, like maybe make him the right tackle, I think he's like way better at guard because that's kind of what he is. He's like if you ask me to rank our offensive linemen, I put Fabici number 1 at right guard. Like he's number 1. I guess by default I put Heath Ozeta at 2, and then Hickman, I guess. Maybe a 3, but our tackles, it's like you got Tarkin at 4 at left tackle, and then you're trying to figure out right tackle whether it's Jake. I mean, they've been experimenting with Sexton at guard, whether Jake Taylor. So there's been a lot of experimenting this spring.
Yeah,
trying to get guys to play multiple positions. So again, like I'm not putting too much stock into Sexton playing guard unless he just like is great at it and he's better than Heath Ozeta for whatever reason. But they need to like if Bill can figure out how to Tyrese Robinson this shit, then like okay, well we'll roll. But I don't know, like that may be something they have to do where it's like, okay, one of these guards is gonna have is gonna have to learn to play tackle, and that's what we're gonna have to roll with. And Tyrese Robinson wasn't the greatest tackle ever, but he was above serviceable.
He was above being a Jag.
Well, no, like you would, like if he was a Jag, you would just get beat every play. But no, he was like, to me, Serviceable is that you're good enough to like not get beat every play. You know what I mean? You're not
Yes,
gonna, like,
yes. Okay. So it's a little couple more steps up.
You're not gonna knock like someone on their ass. You're not gonna pancake people every other play like you're some like future Hall of Famer. But at the same time, it's like to me, Tyrese was like above serviceable. He was like, okay, he can actually block and make some plays on the outside if need be. But that's the one thing they got to figure out. Like, there might be a lot of formations where you bring in some tight ends to add for protection. So it's just, if Seth Luttrell did some shit like that, I wouldn't be surprised. But it's, I just like the thing I love about OU more than anything with the portal closing and spring wrapping up. There's this so much like people just like don't research our program, and
yeah.
Well, no, it's like you see it in shit like 24/7 Sports. Like they're giving out grades to who won the portal, who got the best grades, and they give Texas an A+ and give us a B+. And it's like
they're gonna be surprised next year.
Well, because Texas got a tight end from Alabama who's a great playmaker who literally has 2 catches his entire career, and they're calling him a playmaker. I mean, okay, like, I've seen Deion Burks make multiple plays for Purdue. He's a playmaker. There's plenty of film that shows he's a playmaker. You know what I mean? So it's like, I sit here and like, God, can someone take 5 minutes to watch our team in the spring?
Because it's something I've had to admit to myself, but you're not wrong. You're spot on. They don't want to admit it because they don't want to watch OU.
It's not that they don't want to watch OU. It's because that would require work. That would require effort. And there's so many teams they cover, and they're going to cover they're going to pay more attention to the teams they think are going to win this year. So it's just bunch of us are staring at like Texas, and it's like we're like everyone's got them preseason top 3 or 5. They got them predicted to be in Atlanta for the SEC title game. And I'm sitting here looking at them. You have they got a decent corner from like San Jose State today, but it's like you have nobody returning for your secondary. You have like Anthony Hill at linebacker, which he's really good, but he's still young and makes mistakes, but he's still really good. And you have like no interior D lineman worth a shit. Now you have Colin Simmons, who you're really excited about. They're excited about Colin Simmons, like we were excited about PJ. So it's like, okay, you got him, and then your O-line is solid, but it's like mostly the same O-line that didn't really like. Is it going to be the same issue?
It was serviceable, as using your words for it.
Well, no, like
that's what it was.
Banks is going to be a legitimate like first round pick, but it's like. But which we desperately wanted to get, but fuck Lincoln Riley. It's just, are you gonna be worth a shit in short yardage situations like you were last year? Because that wasn't just an OU thing. As much as I give credit to Brent and OU for the goal line stand, that was a problem going into that game for them. Like you go watch early games, like they had like I forget which game it was. It was against Rice or somebody. They went for it on 4th and short in their own territory. They got stuffed.
Yeah.
Like that was last year. And everyone was hyping up this team. And I know they won the Big 12. They beat Bama. And gosh darn it, they went to the playoff. But it's like there are glaring issues.
People aren't looking at the context.
There are
who's leaving.
All they know is like they have Quinn Ewers and they got Prince Archibald right behind him. They like the tight end transfer from Bama that has 2 catches in his career. They like wide receiver transfers that are not named Xavier Worthy or Jordan Whittington or Adonai Mitchell.
That's also where I'm kind of baffled on. Do they not realize? I'm not going to necessarily say they're taking a big step back, but they're taking somewhat of a step back.
My problem is I'm not saying you can't say Texas won't be good, but you're predicting them to be national title contenders. Like, correct. Fuck you. Seriously, go fuck yourselves and fuck this SEC title shit. Because the main reason they're doing it.
do you even think they're in 12-team playoff kind of stuff?
Well, okay. Well, here's the thing. The reason they're giving him this benefit of the doubt because they love quarterback. They love the quarterback, and let's just be honest. Outside,
They want
of like
Sark to succeed. That's why.
No. That's a whole nother topic. But like, if you're just looking at it from a schedule standpoint, like they love their schedule in the SEC because outside, like their toughest back-to-back is us and Georgia.
Yeah,
and they're expecting Texas to beat us. Everyone is expecting Texas to beat Oklahoma
because they don't want to admit that we beat them last year.
Well, no, you have to remind people of that because it's like like I said, it wasn't treated as like a top rivalry game that was back to being a great rivalry. It's being treated after the fact. It's treated like like you got caught in a trap game, like you went down to Lubbock or something and lost on you had a bad day in Lubbock type of game. That's what they treat it as. The reason they treat it like that because we stumbled and didn't fulfill our end of the bargain of getting the rematch in Arlington. So it's our own fault in a sense, is what they're saying. That retroactively is like, no, fuck you. We beat them straight up, and it wasn't even our best. And it wasn't even our best day or best game. We didn't play a perfect game. We made enough. We
came to play.
We came to fucking play, and it's like. Well, you guys care about that game more. You're goddamn right we do. I've seen it for 20 years that we care more about this game. The evidence is on the field that we care more. Like I just don't understand why you don't care more. Well,
because if they don't acknowledge it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. Like it's like I've told people the most insufferable football game you will watch all year is Michigan versus Texas. Because it's the same type of, but the difference is Michigan actually won a national title despite being crooked as
even
fuck.
Cheating.
Like it was crooked as hell. But it's gonna be the most insufferable game because like someone has to win and someone has to lose, and that's gonna be the button meme right there for Fox especially. But it's just if they should go up there and beat Michigan. Because Michigan lost Michigan lost everybody.
Michigan's going to be 2005 OU. They lost a lot of guys.
That's not a bad comparison, actually.
I've been thinking about it for a little while. Like outside of us not having a Bob,
that's actually not a bad comparison, just based on how because OU in 05, the only guys they had back were basically Adrian Peterson and Rufus Alexander. That was basically it.
Yeah, and of course Bob, but I mean,
they don't have that psychopath as head coach anymore, so maybe it's an improvement.
Correct.
Like with Sharon Moore, even though Sharon Moore is like a cult leader, true believer. He's a former OU guy, God bless him, but it's like he was a true believer. We did this for you, coach. You act like he died. So he was suspended because he's a cheating bastard. But no, it's just you go and again, it's gonna I enjoy shit like this when the arrogance keeps on flooding out across multiple airwaves and we get to see all the hype. I love the hype. I have a folder of hype. I keep collecting hype for them all off season. It's going to be fantastic. Because I'm going to tell you straight up.
It's receipts.
Well, yeah, because here's what's going to happen. They're going to lose to OU and they're going to come home and Georgia's just going to beat them into powder. Georgia will just bully them in their own house.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not playing Nick Saban's worst Alabama team, even though they made the playoff. It's you are not. Georgia is going to bully you, and it's not going to be pretty, especially when you have no interior D line worth of shit. So, Georgia is going to listen. And if OU play Georgia, I would expect the same result. I would expect Georgia. I think we might have a better shot with our defense, but it's only going to delay the inevitable, if you know what I mean.
At some point, the floodgates open. I look at it as
at best, we might pull off a Missouri type performance last year, where Missouri kind of kept in the game, but they just didn't have enough guys to do it. No,
that's how I would see it too. If we had to face,
but we're not winning, so it's
correct. Well, I would say too, I would expect OU to be so emotional, if they won against Texas, and so banged up, I'd expect us to be well. Give us till the third quarter.
Oh no, the worst thing in the world is for Texas and their team is for everyone to act like OU winning last year was a fluke, and it's just going to fuel like our team will have rabies by like October 1st. And it'll be they'll be like rabid.
Yeah.
They'll have to have the Hannibal Lecter mass, especially for Danny Stutzman and Ethan Downs. They'll just like I don't know if there's a penalty for cannibalism on the field, but it might happen. So especially
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
I think Ethan Downs wanted to eat the soul of like Quinn Ewers. Like he tried, and they had to hold him back multiple times last year. No, that's the name that Jeff Ketchum doesn't remember is Ethan Downs, but it is what it is. So,
I mean, to be fair, Jeff Ketchum doesn't remember any name on the defense at all, apparently.
Well, no, he tried. He came up with a couple, and he was so proud of himself.
Danny Stutzman doesn't count because everybody knows Danny Stutzman.
He literally looks like a guy who's transforming on the island of Dr. Moreau every time I see his worm-looking head. It's just like he looks like a human thumb. And
just out of curiosity, do Texas people even
his
like
orange
Ketchum, or is he
really
like
a lot of Texas fans hate him, but like his orange bloods, like heathens believe his bullshit. They repaired it because the Texas fans, the game that gives them nightmares was the Sugar Bowl against Washington, which I would agree to an extent, but this is what I tell Texas fan. It's like, you do realize that you were beat soundly. And the only reason you had a shot at the end is because a running back for Washington got hurt that forced them to stop the clock, or else they would have pretty much ran the clock down to like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And they had to punt the ball with like a minute. And so Texas was able to get a couple big plays while Washington was trying to get their shit together. And then once again, you had a legit shot to win the game, and you failed there too. So, which I thought was hilarious because people think I go back and watch our game all the time and watch our plays. Oh no, I go back and watch that ending sequence every time because I like to remind myself. It's like, oh yeah, if that running back doesn't get hurt on that third down play, that would have almost ran the clock out. Texas gets like zero chance. Like Texas wasn't in that game till the very end when because they had to get they were down 2 scores. They got a quick score. And Washington got the ball back on the onside, and they were going to run the clock out, and then that disastrous moment happened, that gave them a shot.
And that impacted them in the actual championship too against Michigan, if I recall.
Their star running back was hurt.
Yeah, that really impacted. Did Washington have a chance? Maybe.
No, Penix is good, but that running back for theirs was legit, dude. And him being hurt, I think
it was like us with DeMarco.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know if Washington wins overall, because the problem with Michigan is that they were just that was a super COVID team, man. They were so loaded with that's why they lost everybody. They had all these 5th-year seniors that were
same
super
thing with
COVID.
TCU.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you know what? I don't same thing with OU softball. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm not going to be a hater. If you got benefit from it, more power to you. And so it is what it is. So it's like, all right, we're going to take advantage of this.
But there's also a difference, though, of TCU's COVID players you're good in college, but you're not going to be hitting the NFL field. Maybe 1 or 2 of you. Michigan's, yeah.
I mean, I don't think Dominic
Michigan's players. Go ahead.
So I don't think Dominic Williams is a guaranteed first-round pick or anything.
No, he might be a 3rd round. If he does have a fantastic, I think he'd be a 3rd-round pick.
Well, if he keeps on
only because the NFL went insane and decided, let's get 15 offensive players. Are y'all stupid? That was a weird draft.
I mean, not really. The weird draft was the Falcons drafting Penix when they already paid.
If that general
when they already paid 9 figures for a quarterback, it's like, what?
To me, if you picked up Penix, McCarthy, or what's his face, congrats.
I don't think
you wasted your.
JJ went to the right team. I just don't know if JJ McCarthy's going to be a pro prospect at the end of the day.
No, say it. He's not. He's not good. He's very average.
JJ didn't play a schedule worth of shit last year. It was Michigan had the worst schedule I've seen for a national title team. The Problem is they went out and played teams that are worth a shit and they won. But it's like Michigan had the most boring schedule ever. Like, if you're a Michigan fan, you don't care. You got a natty, but it's like week after week, it's like you're just waiting for the Ohio State game, and someone's gonna sit
and you
pretend
just hope nobody gets injured.
Well, someone's gonna pretend that the Penn State game was a big game, but we all know how that was going to turn out. We all know how that was going to turn out. So it's like people keep
the Arkansas of the Big Ten.
People are trying to pump every like with the new 12 team. People are trying to pump up Penn State's going to do something, dude. If anybody can like fuck up a good thing about making the 12 team playoff on the reg, James Franklin is your guy. He'll find a way to fuck that up.
Yeah, but it's still the same guys. Where it's Penn State, Oklahoma State, Arkansas. What do they have all in common? They're the everybody else's team essentially. That they fail expectations, and I would say
you give Arkansas way more credit than I would. Arkansas is not lying.
Replace Arkansas with A&M, either or. Their fan bases think a lot better of their team than they really are. They're not that good.
I don't know. A&M's got like A&M's trying to rebuild, and they got a new coach, and who knows? Like people are upset. People are upset that Sellers is going to A&M, but like I'm not, because we're getting good news on Tuesday with Tristan Haynes. So it's like I would rather have two corners that are like that are over 6 feet and have length than Sellers, who's like 5'9". No offense. It's like
the thing that you're not wrong.
Give me corners who are 6'2" and have length.
Weren't you the one that told me, like, if you take a look at this year at our line versus before, where we were like 270, 280, we're now like over 300.
Oh yeah, all of our interior guys are like $3 easy. It's not even close.
Like they finally are like
Perrion. Like Perrion was like 290, and we were like, "We love you, Perrion. Play the Halloween theme on 3rd and down." Like that. That's the shit we were doing.
And now everybody.
And don't get me wrong, I love that D line with him and Nick and Jalen Redmond and Isaiah Thomas. I love those guys, but like fucking Grinch wouldn't let them fucking play half the time. It's like, could you let these guys like rush the passer? That would be neat.
Yeah. Well, and it's what you said.
Could you let them attack, please? Because that would be sweet. No, we're not going to do that. All right.
But it's exactly what you said too about, and I'm kind of monkeying pretty much what you've told me before too. Is like, it's why we're seeing problems with Dabo at this point. Monkeying, meaning I'm just repeating what you have said. I'm monkeying.
Are you making?
It's not my original thought. No, that's a real word.
I thought I told you to stop making up animals.
But it's why you said like Dabo's having problems. Like we're seeing like.
That's in addition, Dabo doesn't want to use the portal because he's a moron.
That too, and I was going to say that with Brent. Like, it seems like
if Brent came over here and said, guys, I'm gonna do exactly what Dabo did. We're not using the portal. I would fly up there and like stay at your place and say, "What are you doing?" I'm getting torches and pitchforks and getting Brent out of town. So what do you mean you're not using the portal? I understand.
Brent wanted to do it right, but he realized I think the Caden Green thing really.
Well, no. Brent had a come to Jesus moment. Caden Green was part of it, and also like
correct.
Lance Hurd had a part of it too when we missed out on getting him, because that was the stud offensive tackle we could have used. Brent is slowly learning that it's like, okay, there's gonna he doesn't want to have his entire program built like A&M a couple years ago. We have 8,000 5-stars, and they were all bought and paid for, and then none of them work because they're all spoiled children who don't want to play football.
Well, and they didn't develop them. Like, let's be honest, they didn't.
Well, it's both. They didn't develop them, and it turns out like Bryce Foster, like we was like, we missed out on Bryce Foster. Bryce Foster ain't worth shit now. He sucks. He's still in the portal. They played that dude as a true freshman. He struggled on the road against a bad Colorado team. This is pre-Dion, before they got worse. But it's like, no, it's like, the portal and everything. It's like Brent had to come to Jesus moment that he realizes that he and the alumni need to like, hey, if we need a guy, we desperately need a guy. And like NIL will, if we pay a little more to push it over the top, they're going to do it. Now, they're still gonna walk. They're still gonna walk away if it's too stupid. But
right,
if it's a situation where it's like, all right, we're willing to pay you $700,000, I would actually like $850,000. would you take 825? You know, and they're
Yeah.
OU's willing to like, all right,
If
maybe
you're
we'll
willing to
pay.
bid, if you're willing to
like,
play the eBay game, essentially.
if we're willing to pay a little more, okay. Like a couple years ago, I really wanted that out of print Bakano box set from Aniplex USA. I had to pay $260 for it, but I got it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't pop up on eBay very often. Nobody here gives that reference, but still,
I do.
I want a Bakano on Blu-ray, and I paid way too much for it, but I got it. It's in my collection. It's one of my favorite shows ever. God, I hated paying that much money for it, but I had to do it. I had no choice. It wasn't good. Like it doesn't pop up on eBay often. Like nobody sells that thing. But anyway, back to reality. So,
but and something we have to admit though with the players too, and it's tough. It is a tough pill to swallow for a lot of fans, myself included. A lot of it too.
I wish people would stop pretending that players haven't been being paid all this time. Like they need.
No, it's not even that. That's not where I'm going with that. It's players are coming. I would say Caleb Williams really was the first public figure for it, but they've made it clear, I don't care if I win a national championship. I'm here to get money.
Spencer,
go to the NFL.
Spencer was kind of one of the first guys to like do NIL stuff.
No, not NIL in the sense of I'm coming to college solely to build my career so I can get to the NFL. I don't care if I win a national championship. Spencer did want to win one. Caleb made it very clear he did not care if they made it or not. His goal is NFL, and we have to realize that with some of these players, like they're here to get to the NFL. They're not here to win a college title.
Well,
that helps,
unless you're a guaranteed slam dunk first round pick, playing in the playoff is going to help your stock if you go up against other quality teams and you do your thing. That's going to make you more money, unless you're just like without question guaranteed to get that first round rub. But no, I mean
correct. But
like,
I mean,
they're all
what I'm
like,
saying on that.
They're people in charge are trying to figure out with like the NCAA. Okay, what if we got to figure out doing NIL deals where you can't opt out of bowl games? Like it's like okay.
I mean, collective bargaining's coming. I mean,
well, yeah, but I know what else is coming. It's like, well, we're in the Liberty Bowl this year. It's a good thing our star player has to play. Ow, my ankle. Can't play, coach. Ow, my ankle. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
If I'm in the Liberty Bowl, my ankle hurts.
I have the flu.
Yeah, I have COVID-24.
Yeah.
It's COVID is back and better than ever.
That's what these bowls don't realize. Like you can't force them to play. Well, they won't get paid. Okay. The only way they're going to
I won't get my bowl game bonus. I'll wipe my tears away with my signing bonus and
the only thing they would play is if the entire lump sum was expected for that. Like you don't get it if you don't play it. Period. But a smart person would never do that.
Well, there are plenty of programs who are getting reps about like, and I think USC is one of them where it's like, we were promised this much and we're only getting this much. And, it's, you need to have the one big positive thing for Oklahoma with all this thing with Dominic Williams of like a bunch of people crying that they overpaid is that you'd rather you would rather be accused of overpaying in the public eye than being frugal. Correct. So it's like, oh, let's go talk to Oklahoma. They overpaid for people.
So I'm going to take it to the next step.
You'll at least get them in the room to have a conversation if there's a guy you really want. So
I'll even take it the next step, Sean, is saying we know they're good for their money. That's to me, that's more important. For that, because sure,
like,
you could
OU's
say
not like we've been saying for like 2-3 years. OU's not like A&M or Miami or Texas, but like they're top 10-ish or 15-ish.
Yeah, they have money.
We're not trash, and it's like
no.
It's like
we have donors.
It's not the outside people. It's like you have to remind our own fan base. Like you don't get Dominic Burks. You don't get Burks at wide receiver if you don't pay him NIL. You know what I mean? It's just like,
yeah.
When Burks was in the portal, he was identified pretty early. It's like granted, I think they hit him up. Because when when most guys of note enter the portal of note,
People know.
Well, no, it's not that they know. It's just that they tend to already have a destination in mind. So, like when Kane Proctor did like a, take backsies with Iowa, went back to Alabama. Like he was just going back to Alabama.
He was just waiting for the check to clear
because the check cleared. So it's like he actually called their bluff. This is like, okay, I'm gonna go to Iowa. It's like, wait, Kane, come back, please.
Now that part I don't like, but it is what it is.
Iowa was so pissed. Well, because it's like it's not like he went to a third school. It was just the fact that I was like, I'm going back to that's the one thing you can do. You can go back to your original school apparently. So it's like, I had to change your heart. I'm going back home to Alabama.
Yeah.
Even though he lives in Iowa initially, so it's just.
It's like I said, there's parts I don't like about it, and I will never like about it. But I'm also realistic. Like we're gonna be paying players. It's gonna be a thing. Guess what? That's the nature of it. It is what it is until collective bargaining or something else happens, and that's gonna happen. I think it's gonna result from this Florida State ACC lawsuit. I think that's actually. I think it's headed to district now.
I'm still waiting on something to come from that, but it's like whatever.
They told them they have to go to mediation, and both sides said we're not going to agree to that, so they're just waiting for the time to run out.
Y'all
now it has to go to a higher court.
You two ACC studs have fun working that shit out. Have fun trying to get your. God, I always thought it was like, isn't it great we're in the SEC?
I would say definitely even in this point, like,
isn't it great?
What was the I'm trying to remember it. The news that it wasn't the collective bargaining, it wasn't the G5 playoff. Was it maybe it was the collective bargaining where it's like a lot of these schools don't realize that they're going to be cutting baseball and stuff like that to play these football players because
I know who's not cutting baseball. SEC schools.
And Big Ten schools. Let's be honest, them too. They're getting their pay, but I mean, as a lot.
Trust me, there are certain. They're like people keep saying they're cutting baseball, and it's just like
baseball's a non-revenue sport.
Yeah, but like people are saying, I was like, oh my god, it's like I know where they're not cutting baseball. The SEC.
Well, yes. I see where you're saying with that.
I'm saying like there are certain sports that will get cut before they cut, stickball. So it's like there is
correct.
A pecking order. There is a certain pecking order, and
correct. And I've said the same thing of depending on the school.
I'm like,
you're going to have your football, you're going to have your basketball.
Listen, certain schools are like Jeff Goldblum. Life finds a way. So in Jurassic Park, so life will find a way. But
correct.
I'm not worried about like, oh my god, we're gonna cut. It's like if you have a rowing team, I might be worried, but I don't know.
I had an individual try to tell me that I don't understand why they need to cut it. They just need to do what the high school teams do and sell candy bars. And I went, you can't be serious.
I think that's hilarious.
He was serious. He's like, I don't see why they should be paid in the first place for it. He's like, I understand the football and the basketball, but why can my daughter's softball team in high school,
like they only realize
gas money? I'm like
you do realize
scholarship?
Like you do realize that like your basketball team does not go to Dan's t-shirt shop to make like mock-up jersey t-shirts for your middle school team.
Correct.
Like that's not what they're doing.
He said this individual said that we needed to model for D1 like D3 does because they don't operate on a revenue. I said, my dude, it's high school plus. D3, if you're playing in a D3, you're at a dead end. You're not better. I'm sorry. That's the truth. That's why you compete in D1 and maybe D2. D3, this is as good as it gets.
It's like, the educational system in Oklahoma. We got a great superintendent. That's the education level we have in the state of Oklahoma right now.
Oh gosh, don't remind me. It's a very sad
Let's
state of
ban
affairs.
books. Oh, that's gonna work out.
Oh no, let's not even report our high school statistics so kids can get numbers for scholarships like national.
Why
merit.
are teachers leaving the state in droves? You got
but
me.
We pay them well. I wonder why.
Did they get paid?
Yeah. Don't forget. Why Why do they block people from coming to the state superintendent meetings? Because they get arrested when they're there. But anyway, but
what do you mean your school still gives you school supplies for you? What do you mean you don't pay them out of pocket, out of your own paycheck? What?
Poor K? Yeah, that's a mess on its own for it. But
I love the state of Oklahoma, my family. It's a beautiful place in certain areas of the state, and it's like I would, in a perfect situation, I move back and live there in a heartbeat. But there are a lot of stupid people in charge of the state right now, and it has nothing to do with like blue or red. It's just straight up stupidity.
It's people who don't understand. Yeah,
it's like you don't take care of certain people, and it's like you wonder why certain parts of the country are in shambles, and it's like,
and why certain
parts I don't care what color you vote for. It's just insanity. But anyway,
I get confident people. Anyway,
that's enough. That's enough politics. So
on the other NFL person I was thinking of, I think Denver was stupid and took Bo Nix. I'm like, y'all got scammed. Bo Nix is not going to be your franchise quarterback you think he is. In the first round, too, y'all are stupid.
I don't know.
I understand Russell Wilson wasn't going to make waves, but he's better than Bo Nix.
People are retroactively like shitting on Russell Wilson for like other shit in his career, and it's like, wait, what? Pretty sure Russell Wilson was pretty good.
Russell Wilson was great.
I know he was undersized, but come on, man. It's like y'all acting like this dude didn't win a ring. It's like,
yeah. How do speaking of that,
can we back up a little bit? It's like Russell's pretty good. Yeah.
What speaking of that as well, did you like Dallas's pick for Tyler Guyton?
I mean, he was the guy I knew they were going to pick. They got to rebuild the O-line, but it's like I don't expect anything to happen. Like Tyler Guyton is not going to be. There's no guarantee he's going to be an immediate starter. Which you think, wait, he's a first round pick. Why wouldn't he be? But it's like Tyler has only played tackle for like a couple years. Like the dude was like unless he becomes like the next Lane Johnson, which that's pretty much what Lane was. Lane went from quarterback to tight end, or he went from quarterback to DN to tight end to tackle, and then became like a first round pick. So, and will likely be future Hall of Famer the way things are going.
I would say in general, Dallas's draft was pretty decent. I mean, they only took one wide
I
receiver.
I like the Cooper Beebe pick because again, just building the O-line. But at the end of the day, like you have uncertainty with Dak. You're trying to figure out how to pay Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb, who, some argue CD is like, if not the best, like one of the top 2 or 3 receivers in the league. You got Zeke back for some odd reason, which you're not paying him much, but it's like you let Tony Pollard go. But Zeke is not Zeke from like 2016. You know what I mean? Like he's not that guy. Like that guy doesn't exist anymore.
Like he gotten hurt enough.
2016 is 8 years ago.
Correct. Correct.
That's like 70. That's like 70 in dog years. Like same thing for running backs. Like running backs age like dogs. So it's like.
Yeah, I mean, they have a good 6-7 years, and that's it.
If there's one thing that people in the league don't do, you don't pay for running backs. Those days are over. Adrian Peterson, like maybe Derrick Henry, like Adrian Peterson, Derrick Henry, those guys are few and far between now. Running backs are so interchangeable at this point.
Yep.
Like running backs have literally become what wide receivers used to be. So because it's like the days of like ground and pound everywhere. It's like, nope. Don't get me wrong.
That's actually one when you mentioned it. I saw this yesterday was in college football. It was records that would never be broken from that. And that was like something about like Barry Sanders and stuff of his season just will not be there. There's just no way unless you get someone who's just out of their mind. That would be your first round. You pay for a running back, essentially. That's where I was going with that. But yeah, I mean, I laughed at my friend who is very, very, very invested in NFL because he bets. He does fantasy. He does all that. He said what cracks him up is these teams picking some of these lousy players in their first or second round and going, why are we still losing to Kansas City? Well, it's because you're wasting your draft pick.
Well, it's like we're talking about records not going to be broken. It's like Derrick Henry down here in Florida. He broke the all-time high school record. He ran for over 12,000 yards in his high school
wild. Career. That's wild, isn't it?
He was just a beast in high school and just destroyed people. It was just like, and he did it. He did. It's not like he did it in like fucking Delaware or something. You know what I mean? Or Rhode Island. He did it in Florida. So,
well, and that's
he just murdered, death killed.
Yeah, and still to this day, I do not know why Nick Saban did not run him more against us. We weren't stopping him, but I guess he got gassed at some point.
I mean, he was still a true freshman, but it was like he wanted to. It's the same reason why if you don't trust him to pass protect and everything, you only put him in for plays, certain shit like that. But it's like at the same time, it's like, yep. Those were the last like bowl game. Those were the last bowl games that mattered that were not national title games. It's like
the on that thing I found it, by the way. The other records that were mentioned was like most offensive yards in a game, us versus Tech. That's a record on its own. Most sacks in a season, Derek Thomas at 27.
Oh, you're talking about you were talking about the Baker game against
the Baker and Mahomes game. Yeah. Most interceptions thrown in a game, 9 versus Auburn in 69. John Reeves.
That's when he only threw like 9 passes.
Yeah. The most first half passing yards was Houston versus SMU in 89. It was like, some of these are like, you're just not going to get there anymore. Obviously the 47 was on there because it's like with the playoff and everything, it's just impossible at this point to get to that point. For that. Other than that, John, I was trying to think, and we talked a little bit of NFL draft. We talked a little bit about recruitment, obviously. We talked, Gavin Freeman, he's going to OSU. I hope he's successful up there. There's people that are cheering. I know Austin wanted us to mention a little bit about Porter Moser. There's just not a lot to talk about him anymore. Like he's a loser.
If you expect me to talk about OU men's basketball, I'm sorry, I'm not going to, because nobody cares.
We've exhausted it.
And I'm not picking on Austin or anything. It's like my days of talking about OU basketball are almost done. Pretty much, because nobody gives a shit. It's like
I cracked up when
people care about football, they care about softball a little bit, they care about me yelling about Texas.
They care about gymnastics.
Yeah, but I'm not going to talk about gymnastics because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. That
correct.
that the ribbon dance she did was like, I don't know what the fuck anything means, but it's like no, like again, I hosted a fucking watch along for an OU Texas game in Norman on Tuesday night, and nobody fucking showed up. Nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah, and
so it's like I'm not doing. OU basketball has. I'm sorry. I'm be fair weather OU basketball fan. OU basketball has to be.
I don't blame
shit.
you. Because
unless they have like
an NIL game,
unless they have another Trae Young or something, I'm not going to cover it anymore. And it's like
it's because it's just not.
There's just
everybody has that one sport they're not good at. Unfortunately for us, it's men's basketball.
No, it's like it's not that they can't be good. It's just the fact it's a combination of OU's in a bad spot right now, and the sport is like not. It's just the sport is slowly eroding. So,
and what's funny, my coworker, now former coworker, he accepted a job covering essentially recruiting. He said the same thing where he's like, I like college. But he's like, I just don't care outside of March Madness because he's like, it's the same.
Well, nobody does. Nobody cares about the sport outside of the tournament. It's like it's been like that. And people are like, I'm worried that's what's going to happen to football. It's football. Football's different. It's always been different. Quit treating football like it's basketball.
Football also has a lot fewer games. Basketball it's like baseball.
Football
is hard to keep up
football
with.
Is centered around Saturdays. It's one game a week. You're not watching multiple games a week. You're not watching OU football on a Tuesday. So you know what I mean? So people with lives can make time for however many Saturdays in the fall, or like and people with like busy lives, they're gonna skip the OU Temple game and they're gonna watch like this year. People may not understand, like this is the first time in a while where you have like 5 or 6 games you would be really excited about if it was just like 1 or 2 of them, like Tennessee.
Because it's what you have said. Again, I'm parroting
Tennessee, Bama, LSU, Ole Miss, Missouri, and the Texas
Sean,
game.
You and I have said it together on it, but it's because we're usually the team that everybody goes to 10. It's nice to have the other side of it where we're going to get the good home slate for once.
Well, we don't know. Actually, the really good home slate is next year, because that's when LSU and Ole Miss and Missouri, and Auburn.
Oh, I mean, I'm just talking in general, where it's like we get. That's why we love no non-conference so much. Was we didn't get anybody good in the Big 12, and honestly, most of the time
TCU's good this year. Baylor's good this year. I think. It turns out OSU's kind of good.
Yeah,
Bedlam will be our game.
Yeah, that's the thing. Bedlam. It was always better in Stillwater. We never got really OSU really truly highly ranked in Norman, outside of maybe a handful of times. Same thing with our out of state, like when we did our home and home, for example, with Florida State.
You watch 2010 Florida State. It is so weird. It's like, wow, this program is so bad right now.
Yeah, I was there for that one.
They won a natty 3 years. They won a natty 3 years later, but it's like wow, 2010 Florida State was ass. Like in the week,
like I said,
that week we whooped their ass. It's like the week before we barely beat Utah State. It was like, okay, I guess OU's okay. But it was like the first week, it's like, oh my god, are we going to lose to Utah State? And the next week,
people were melting down the student section on that one. I was there. I know.
I was like, why are we barely beating Utah State? Why do we need DeMarco Murray to make a heroic run to seal this game?
You know what I honestly expect the home slate to be in this? I'm going to use an example of a very underrated game, but it makes me think of 2013 Texas Tech. That's kind of what I expect these games, where it's like, this is a great game. It's not going to be one that's
you want a rain delay where we end up on like Fox Business Channel because they have to scramble to find a place to put the game after a lightning delay.
In 2013?
Yeah, that was a lightning delay game.
I don't remember that. I remember it.
Oh, I do. The game was moved.
I was there, and I remember it.
Yeah, the game was moved to like. Yeah, the game was moved to like Fox Business or something.
Really?
They had
no
other.
I was at the game, so I never knew that.
That was pre FS1. FS1 didn't exist back then, so they had to scramble to find a channel to put the game on.
Yes, it did. In 2013, it did, because we literally were on the following week with Baylor. I'm looking at it.
I don't think FS1 existed in 2013.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. OU versus Baylor in Waco, FS1.
Are you sure it's not Fox Sports Net or whatever the fuck?
FS1. Yeah.
If it was FS1, then it was like. If it was FS1, it was like early FS1. It just started.
Are you thinking of the rain delay in 2010 with Texas Tech where we lost?
No.
Or are you thinking of 2013?
No, 2013 where Baker Mayfield was standing on the sideline being pissed off that he wasn't playing. Where we had 2013 was like, fucking Trey Miller got hurt late in that game and we lost him for the rest of the year. No, that was I very vividly remember that game was pushed to like Fox Business.
That's so weird. I guess I was, since I was at the game, I never thought about that, but I never knew it.
It was delayed for lightning.
Huh. So, I never knew. I don't recall that.
All right. So yeah,
I believe you. Don't get me wrong. But
okay. So yeah, FS1 actually launched in 2013. So I was like,
well, there we go.
It actually launched in 2013. It replaced the Speed Channel, but no,
you're
like
right.
I
remember. Okay, now it's coming back to me because me and Josh went to that game. Another friend named Josh, and we were in the OU parking garage waiting it out. You're right. There was a weather delay.
Yeah, and it had to be moved on television. So that's why I thought FS.
See, I never knew about the television part. Yeah, I never knew the television.
I remember vividly. It's like, where the fuck is that? Because if it wasn't for Twitter, nobody would know where the game was.
Just like the Army game.
Yeah. Well, oh god. Oh my god, Army might be in Oklahoma. It's on pay-per-view and no one could watch it.
Hey, that means if they did.
Kyler Murray literally just like could score at will, except for literally one play where he just threw a deep ball and it got picked off. And it's like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, I was at that game too. That's the most miserable win I've ever attended. I was
they had like
so
Dylan
pissy on that game.
They had like Dylan Fatu like playing like D line and trying to like stop the
they couldn't.
Well, no, because all they did was like cut block all the time, and it was like until they finally banned that shit. And
Thank goodness,
they couldn't stop that. It's like I always tell people, it's like stop playing Army and Navy, because everyone who plays these teams and they're not prepared for how they play football, like it almost happened to Michigan a couple years ago where they played Army.
Yep.
Army almost beat them. So it's like, everyone's like, oh, I'm so sad I won't go to the Army game and on the road. It's like, I don't give a shit. I don't want to play that. Fuck that. Don't play these weirdo triple option teams. No, you don't have to worry about that anymore. But it's like, no.
Correct. And let's be honest, the reason why
I want to go to West Point. Who cares? I want to win games.
Yeah. Again, remember, the reason why we won that game was Army got to figured out, hey, why don't we do a pass? No, and now you lost. That's the only reason why.
Well, they had to, because like it was the great white hype moment where like you trying to embarrass me on TV, and then like, oh, you just like realize, oh shit, we have to make plays now. But it's like, yeah, like
I hated that game so much.
Like, you know, the meme from like, what is it, Rapunzel or whatever, where what's his face has all the swords at his neck, is like, what's the one opinion you have that your fan base like does this to you? Me, it's like, I don't give a shit. For mine, it's like, I don't give a shit about playing at West Point. I'm glad that game's canceled.
That's why don't say that with some of the people. They were like,
that's my swords at my neck moment. It's like, I don't give a shit. It's like,
yeah,
don't
but
you care about the troops? I was a troop. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. You want to go to you want to take a trip to West Point? It's there. Go ask for a tour. Like some cadet will, like, who's just trying to get out of KP duty, will gladly.
Let's be honest. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. They only want to go
Notre
to West
Dame
Point.
Is such a beautiful campus. Yeah, if you're over the age of 40.
I mean,
I am.
A lot of those people with the money are attending that game for that reason.
Yeah. It's like, you know who doesn't care? You know, 18-year-old high school kids who actually want to win things in college.
But the tradition,
Notre Dame is getting a little secret hype this year as well. So
yeah,
it's going to be weird, because like people are going to have to get used to the fact that there's going to be 12 teams that are going to get like talked about for the fucking playoff now, and it's just going to be weird. And you know, like, people are going to have that mental, like, we spent 10 years like thinking about 4 teams, and now it's going to go to 12. And I was like, okay, for at least a couple years it's 12. They still haven't figured out the 14 part yet that they've been trying to do or whatever, but we'll see what happens there. But it's just like, I don't know. It's like people are going to say this could be up there. You're going to hear 30 teams any given week that could be playoff contenders.
Yeah.
Which is going to be fun.
I mean, they're not wrong.
It's going to be fun for some people, but it's like, but bubbles will be burst pretty early. Like, a lot of teams will get eliminated early in September and October. Like, by the time you get to like this halfway mark, you're going to know who's like, all right, here are teams that are actually in contention. And that's why you need more games like Michigan and Texas and other things. And like, you have Clemson and Georgia and LSU, USC. You're going to see a lot more of those games, because it's like,
there's no reason people want,
but there's no reason not to play them.
Correct.
So it's like, no,
well, I don't like funny part is,
I don't like the neutral site thing. It's like, play them on college campuses, please. But you know, SC and LSU are going to play in Vegas. All right, play in Vegas, I guess.
It's Vegas. Like, I don't know what the appeal over the last 10 years for Vegas all of a sudden of.
God, I have no idea who's going to win that LSU USC game is going to be weird, because I have no idea who I would pick right now.
The giant meteor.
Well, no, it's not even like a hatred thing for both. It's like,
I'm just happy with LSU.
Do I lean quarterback with Lincoln just because, or both teams don't have a defense, literally, and it's like, that could be a stupid game. That could be like a Big 12 like stupid score fest.
Yeah. I'm just actually happy we get to face
LSU has
LSU this year.
I mean, LSU, I don't know who the hell their quarterback's going to be with, Mr. Heisman gone, who didn't win a big game last year, but regardless, still put up a lot of numbers. It's like that's a game. It's like Georgia's going to play Clemson, but Georgia will murder Clemson because Clemson's not, they're not Clemson anymore.
Yeah.
We don't play anybody worth a shit because we'll play Michigan next year in Norman, so.
And that's a game I'm looking forward to, even though I know it's not going to be the Natty game at this point. I mean,
Michigan will be better by default, but just like, who are we gonna like? Just like I'm trying to like get on like who are we losing next year for sure? Obviously, Dominic Williams, Danny Stutzman, Billy Bowman, Woody. I was thinking of guys that are definitely gone after probably if Burks is a monster year, he could be gone. Just trying to think of other guys who could be just take off, but
just a couple.
I don't know.
Sean, we have about 5-10 minutes really fast. Can we cover some softball stuff really fast?
Oh, you won a softball game today. Tiare Jennings actually hit the ball. She actually got a home run. Look,
what's been going on with the softball team just to catch everybody up?
Well, okay. I saw them in person the week before, and they were solid for the most part. But this is going to hurt feelings. But Texas and OSU are just better than them right now.
Yeah,
they went 1-2 against both of them. But hey, the tournament is this week, starting they play Thursday because they get OU's the second seed in the tournament because they finished second overall. Texas has won the regular season title, the first time in 11-12 years that someone not named Oklahoma has won the regular season title.
Yeah,
but people are blaming Nicole May and shit, and it's like, no, like this team hasn't hit consistently. All your regular like go-to hitters are not getting on base hitting. They're being walked a lot, or they're getting lucky drops. But, until today, Tiare Jennings has been awful recently at bat. She's not good.
It seems this year with the team, they're way more extreme versus
Alyssa
last
Brito
year where it was like one person's down, we had more. This year it's like if they're hot, they're hot. If they're cold, they're cold.
Well, Alyssa Brito is inconsistent. Jada Coleman's inconsistent. The lineup should be a lot better. Like, I think teams are figuring out how to pitch to them. And, OSU didn't play their best pitchers today for obvious reasons, but they won the series. I'm sure deep down they wanted to. I mean, it was a close game up till like the 6th, where OU just like broke it open. And they came close to run ruling if they had like another hit, if they ever had another big hit in them, but didn't work out. But regardless, they won in 7. So, but they didn't hit this. Today was the first day they hit a home run in like a week. I want you to think about that. They didn't hit home runs. The first 2 games there were 0 homers. Like, they could not get on base without being walked. To save them, they just couldn't do it. And they're going to likely play. OU's likely going to play OSU in the. Where's the bracket real quick? Because they put out the bracket recently. Pull it up.
I think it was Texas.
No, okay. OU is going to play either Kansas or Houston on Thursday. And assuming they win that one,
gotcha.
they will likely play Oklahoma State unless BYU pulls an upset. And then after that, they will likely play Texas in the championship game if they make it that far. And I can say if, because I'm at the point right now with this team where it's like, I'm not mad that they're not dominating, because how can you be mad at a program who's had such a great run that they've had recently? It's like people are like legitimately upset.
Was going to happen at some point.
Well, no, people are upset that this team sucks. Like, they don't suck. They're just not good enough to win a national title this year, just based on how they've been playing recently. It's like, it doesn't mean that you don't win 40 plus games and suck. You know what I mean? It's just like, there are too many flaws in this team right now where it's like, well, you guys aren't hitting. And the pitching is not as consistent as it used to be. People say, we miss Jordy balls. Like, yeah, to an extent, but Jordy doesn't hit. Jordy's not in the batting lineup. Like,
Yeah.
Chiari Jennings, like, went, like, 3 for 28, like, recently. Until she finally, did something today. That's your best player.
See,
And
to me, it's a combination as well. I think it's a little bit of both.
Jada Coleman's, like, misplaying balls in the outfield, and it's like they're all out of sorts right now. So I don't know if they had a come to Jesus moment today, considering how much this program loves Jesus. But it's just,
And
if you go to Hall of Fame Stadium this upcoming weekend, and maybe if OU like just wins 3 in a row and they take care of business, good. Then I don't know if they'll be the number 1 seed, but they'll be like probably number 2 solid. Like, it's not really going to matter.
Will they be hosting a regional?
Yes, they're going to host a regional.
I mean, if they lost the tournament, would they host one? That's kind of my question.
Of course they will. Yeah, OU's guaranteed to host a regional and a super. There's no way they're not dropping them past 16. Not a chance in hell.
That's fair.
Not a chance in hell. Like they're not. No. Like, OU's not dropping out the top 10.
That's fair. There. Do you think I've been told no. Do you think the new field has anything to do with it? That they're still
I heard that being that being sprinkled out in the broadcast today. I'm like, no, shut the fuck up.
No, I was just curious where it was.
No.
Is that a possibility? Them not being as familiar with it, like the ins and outs of it, and that's okay.
I call bullshit on that.
Okay,
I do.
Okay.
What
it's a curiosity.
Does this team not go on the road and dominate other places that they're not quote unquote familiar with?
That's fair.
They did at UCF, so it's like they weren't quote unquote familiar with that field. They've never been there before, and they won 3 different ways. They won in a blowout, they won in a tight, low scoring game, and they won in a shootout. So no, I'm not gonna like play the the field is like, no, they just didn't play well. That's why they lost. I'm not gonna be that fan. I'm not searching for reasons why. I'm not gonna like search for reasons why they're struggling. They're just struggling. It happens. And it's like,
I never figured it was a looking for an excuse. I've always kind of heard if it's something kind of new, they have to get adjusted to the stadium because there might be little quirks or something for it, and then they're good. It's like a year kind of to get adjusted to it.
I'm not playing that card, even if someone offers it to me. I'm like, you can take that card back. No, they just got beat. So they got beat. Like they won today. So again, I gotta figure out how Eric's going to be in OKC covering the tournament. So
cool.
But we'll see. We'll see if there's any upsets in the tournament. So, I mean,
do you think there will be?
I mean, if UCF can beat Baylor, and then if UCF beats Texas,
there's a chance.
If BYU beats OSU, I'm not rooting for other people to do our dirty work, mind you, but it's like weird shit. Listen, softball this year, weirder shit has happened. It's been a weird year for softball. A lot of weird upsets have happened. So OU struggling a little bit is like just like par for the course for the rest of the like college softball year. So it's like, again, like it wouldn't like honestly, if you made me pick, it wouldn't shock me if like Stanford won it all.
Yeah,
with like Kennedy like leading in charge because she's hitting now and she's just a beast. So if you told me Stanford is going to win it all, like you came back from the future and told me, it's like, I believe you. Just Kennedy's like MVP and everything. It's like, yeah, I would totally believe that. So that is like the one team I don't want to see in OKC at all costs is Stanford, but there's no promises. You just don't know. So.
I mean, as well as they played last year and stuff, it's not really surprised if they make it there too.
Well, Kennedy is just a monster. She's like just awesome. She's like player of the year. So, and she should be.
Yeah. That's all I have tonight, Sean. So thanks for coming on. Everybody be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, like, hit the notification so you know when we go live, upload video, standard stuff. We're going to try to do a Hangout live stream probably sometime in a week or two. Haven't decided yet. Just a lot of stuff going on in the background with work, working on other projects, as well as just, hey, if I schedule it during a severe weather day, I'm not going to be on for a severe weather day unless it's something that's way north or something. So other than that, guys, thanks again, Sean, for joining tonight. Boom Sooner, only one. See everybody on the next live stream. Later.